What is going on, everybody? Nintendo just dropped their Q4 2025 Nintendo results, which were their big sales from October 1st of 2025 to December 31st of 2025. This is the holiday season. This is the one that I think a lot of us really wanted to see if Nintendo was still keeping that momentum with Switch 2. And long story short, on the console side of things, absolutely, but on the software side of things, I'm not quite sure right now. Now, all the reports I'm reading from today comes from Pierre485 on Twitter. You can actually go check out their post where they posted pretty much a whole slot of information about this. But pretty much the Nintendo Switch 2 ships another 7 million units, now over 17.37 million units in just 7 months. It's the best third quarter for any Nintendo system, even surpassing the Wii's 3.43 million units. And as you can see, the Switch 2 is off to a pretty booming start. I mean, the Switch 2 has already surpassed the Wii U in sales. Let that sink in. In 7 months, the Switch 2 has passed the Wii U sales of an entire lifetime. That is crazy. We knew the Wii U was bad, but it's just crazy to think about that. It's even creeping up on the GameCube already. I mean, this is still super early for a console, so that's very, very impressive numbers already. Now, it was also pretty good when you look at all software as a total, because Nintendo shipped another 17.31 million games on Switch 2, and for total software already on the Switch 2, they have 37.93 million software sent out. Now, this has not surpassed the Wii U yet, and that's why I'm going to get into this, because most of these sales alone go to Mario Kart World, and we'll talk about that here soon. So let's jump into some of the software. Starting off with Pokémon Legends ZA, it didn't sell as well, really anywhere near as well as at least I thought it would have. In 77 days, Pokémon Legends ZA sold a total from Switch 1 and Switch 2 of 12.3 million, which would make it pretty low in comparison to pretty much every other past Pokemon game since Let's Go. But yeah, Sword and Shield, BDSP remakes, Legend Arceus, even Scarlet and Violet all sold very much higher than Legends ZA in a lesser time frame as well. So yeah, even selling less than Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is pretty interesting. And what makes it even more interesting is out of the 12.3 million sales of both consoles, only 3.89 million were for the Switch 2 version, which is very strange. I mean, the first Switch 2 Pokemon game, even though it's not mainline, and yes, you can still play it on Switch 1, but with such a huge install base off the rip with Switch 2, which obviously it's not as big as Switch 1's install base yet, not even close, but still, I really expected a lot more on Switch 2, especially since every Pokemon fan complains about how the games run so bad on Switch 1. Like, this was your opportunity to get your first Pokemon game on absolutely new hardware. And to see this just sitting below 4 million and even being lower than Legends Arceus already is kind of strange to me. It's a new console, I get it, it's a smaller install base, but I did expect this one to be higher. And like I said, even across the board on both consoles, it didn't do as well, not even as well as Arceus. You then have Super Mario Galaxy 1 Plus 2 pack. It shipped a total of 2.28 million units in 3 months, but compared to other 3D Marios, obviously, yeah. Now, as far as just the first quarter sales, it did actually do better than Mario 64 DS when it came out, and also Mario 3D World when it originally came out on Wii U, which is absolutely insane to even see. But also, since they're Switch 1 games, they didn't really make a dent. And of course, they're remakes, and Mario Galaxy already had a remake with Mario 3D All-Stars, so for it to get that much is actually still impressive to me. But clearly, nothing's coming close to the numbers that Odyssey was able to put up, so that's why we need that new 3D Mario. Now, Kirby Air Riders didn't sell half bad. It went on to sell 1.76 million units already, which surpassed a lot of other Kirby games, and even did really well, not just for a spin-off, but for a Kirby game, period. Now remember, this game came out towards the end of November, so it's barely been over a month and it's already put up these numbers. That's really good, and I think Sakurai's touch had a lot to do with it as well. I am curious to see if it continues to have legs, if it's one of those games that, you know, people continue to pick up for years to come. I don't quite know with this one. I'll be very surprised if we see this grow to like massive amounts, but this is still like not bad at all. But once again, just like Mario, you can see with this chart, the 3D games, they sell, man. Forgotten Land up there at 7.5. I don't know if it's ever going to be passed anytime soon until the next 3D Kirby game. But yeah, man, that game sold a lot of numbers. It deserved to. It was really good. Now, this is the one that I'm going to be very picky on. Donkey Kong Bonanza sold a total of 4.25 million units already, which obviously for Donkey Kong standards alone, this is really, really good. But what's interesting is the crazy drop off from Q3 of 2025 to Q4. We had 3.49 in Q3 and only 760,000 in Q4. This one personally doesn't surprise me, but I think a lot of people are going to be in for a rude awakening with this, because people just kind of thought and saw this as the big 3D Mario replacement for Switch 2 and said, you know what, we don't need 3D Mario, we have this. But it goes to show this thing isn't really keeping its legs, and for the big single-player adventure, one of the only ones we have on Switch 2 right now, let's face it, Nintendo went into the Switch 2 expecting Donkey Kong and Mario Kart to completely run things, and I don't think Donkey Kong lived up to the expectations that maybe they were expecting it to have. Don't get me wrong, it's not terrible by any means, but it's not Mario Odyssey's first quarter of 9 million. But like I said, for a Donkey Kong game, it's going to do well. You know, it's going to be looked at as a success for Donkey Kong, but as a big single-player adventure game from Nintendo, I don't know quite yet. I mean, yes, it's doing a lot better than the other 2D games. It still hasn't reached 64 yet, and DKC2, of course. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to reach Tropical Freeze in the long run, or even Donkey Kong Country Returns. Now, that game's kind of unfair. It has 3 different versions, so does the original Donkey Kong Country. But yeah, I am wondering if it's going to grow to be the best-selling Donkey Kong game or not, because there's definitely a lot of competition on that chart when it comes to at least returns in the original. And once again, I'm just clarifying this because I know someone's going to be down there in the comments right now typing that how can you say that 4.25 million sales already is bad? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying Nintendo saw this thing as one of their big 3D platformers to kind of run the whole entire first 6 months alongside Mario Kart. So I'm just thinking in my head, they definitely expected this thing to be more. I mean, the fact that the Odyssey team worked on this thing, I really do think they wanted this thing to be more. Now, real quick, once again, these are Donkey Kong Bonanza sales dropping off greatly from quarter to quarter, going from 3.49 million to 760,000, which is kind of crazy how the legs fell off this thing so hard. Now, here is Mario Kart World's quarter to quarter to quarter. This is what a healthy chart of growth should look like. Starting at 5.63 million, dropping slightly to 3.94, and back up even more to 4.46 million throughout the holiday. Now, of course, it's kind of with the Switch 2, there's bundles, and of course, most people are going to go out and buy a Switch 2 to play the new Mario Kart. Like, that was the game that almost anybody and everybody's going to want to go out and play. That's the system seller. That's the, in my opinion, one and only true system seller for Switch 2 right now. Mario Kart World has sold a total of 14 million units, and it has now been deemed the fastest selling Mario Kart to date, now passing Mario Kart Wii, which is just incredible to see. Look at these numbers. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Mario Kart. You guys know I have mixed feelings about the game, very much mixed feelings. But at the same time, I do feel like just so many of these sales were because of the bundles. You know, once again, I know Mario Kart World is selling well, but there's so many bundles with it where you're getting the game for $30 cheaper. Why would you not go with the bundle? And the fact that it's like the big game to get with your Switch 2, there's never really ever been a Mario Kart game bundled with a console, so, or even released as a release title for the console. So yeah, it already had its leg up with the competition just from that alone. But once again, it's about longevity. Is Mario Kart World going to have the same legs that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did? Well, the bundles are pretty much over now, so we're going to see how well this game continues to sell. Does it put up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe numbers? I don't think there's a chance in the world that we're going to see a game put up numbers like that. But yeah, it's still got competition with things like Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Wii, and even Mario Kart DS. But it's already surpassed the lifetime sales of 5 other Mario Kart games, which is just crazy to even hear. Now, I do have some very bad news for Metroid fans, and specifically Metroid Prime fans. Metroid Prime 4 was completely absent from Nintendo's financial report, which means combined it might have sold over 1 million units, but it didn't individually on either Switch or Switch 2. So it's probably safe to say on both Switch 1 and Switch 2 it did creep over 1 million, but it wasn't enough to show up on any of their charts, which means it probably sold pretty bad. Now, I'm being honest with you, as someone who loves Metroid Prime and played through the original trilogy so many times I can't even count. I've seen a lot of people online say that this game didn't deserve that, and I'll be honest with you, It kind of did. As a huge Metroid Prime fan, I was extremely let down. It didn't feel like a Metroid Prime game to me. It just had some issues that I just couldn't understand. It felt almost like a different game at times. We know they struggled development, and even Retro's talked about it. It was just all over the place, and they pretty much had to pick up the scraps from Bandai Namco and work from there. Also to the horrible marketing that the game had. I mean, they literally were not showing this game off, and everybody said that I just need to be patient and that they showed enough. This is why you have to market your game, people. It doesn't really matter. Even if this game isn't as good as people hoped it would have been, it probably would have done 10 times better if they would have just marketed the freaking game. I mean, we were going up to like a month until release and an overview trailer for the thing yet, or any new trailers. Like, we were skipping Nintendo Directs without getting trailers for this thing. They were kind of just giving these trailers when they did release them, these really casual Samus slowly walking around scanning things. It just didn't look interesting. And a lot of people I knew didn't even know this game was a thing. They're like, what? There's a Metroid Prime 4? Like, it was just so under the radar. I don't know what their plans were with this. That's why marketing is so important. It's almost like Nintendo knew this thing was going to fail and they just wanted it to. It was definitely not surprising to me at all when I read this. I absolutely knew this was coming. It's just sad to actually see. And I will never tell you guys to go out and buy something just to preserve the legacy of a franchise. I want Metroid Prime to continue, but the right way, absolutely. But this isn't the right way to do it. This is absolutely not what they need to do moving on into the future, because this was just a wreck. And I can't recommend people go out and play this game just to preserve the Prime franchise. This isn't like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake, where I was like, everybody go out and buy this game because it was amazing. It's a beautiful game, and I want the classic Paper Mario formula to continue on with the legacy of Paper Mario in the future. This wasn't that same boat, though. I was very let down by this game, and it's a tragedy to see it not only sell bad, but perform as bad as it did, at least for me. I'm probably going to make a separate video about this, but I think it might be time for Nintendo to focus just primarily on 2D Metroids from like Mercury Steam right now, and maybe go back to an Other M style of formula. I'm not talking about with the horrible characterization of Samus or anything like that, just 3D, third-person, control Samus in an open 3D area. They might have to move away from Prime, at least for now. I don't know what's going to happen with the 3D Metroid games. Yeah, it's going to be weird. That's for a separate video, though. But yes, regardless of how vocal we have all been with the Switch 2, whether we really like the thing, or if you're like kind of in my boat where you feel a little with the thing, and you know, you're very mixed. And that's kind of where I've been. I've been very mixed with the games and just the way the Switch 2 has just been going right now with prices and stuff that Nintendo's been doing. But you can't deny, at least out the gate so far, the Switch 2 is selling very strongly, and it's following a trajectory to be still way better than the Switch 1 start. But Switch 1 had some legs to the thing, and that's what's going to be interesting the next couple of years, to see if this thing is going to carry its legs or if it's going to flatten out and start losing some of its hype. Now, a big reason that consoles continue to succeed is the games. Nintendo needs to bring the games, and right now, their 2026 schedule is not looking so hot. And if their games so far that's already come out haven't been anything super crazy outside of Mario Kart and maybe even Donkey Kong Bonanza, it shows you that, you know, these games coming out in 2026 are definitely not going to move the needle for Switch 2. They got to start revealing some big stuff here soon. I completely even forgot to talk about Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, but that's no surprise. It was not on any of the charts or data either. I didn't even see people bringing that one up. I think people kind of forgot that that game existed. I haven't even seen people talk about it yet. But yeah, I mean, once again, I played it and I am not surprised at all. It was very just an okay game. But it shows Nintendo needs some stronger software here soon. So hopefully a Nintendo Direct is in the pipeline soon and we can get some really good information on what's next and what's Nintendo's plans moving into the future. Let me know down below what you think of these early sales from Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, you can't deny it. They're doing pretty good so far, but we'll see if they have those legs. And let me know what games you're looking forward to for them to actually start moving that needle for Switch 2 even higher and start, you know, really getting that popularity of the console up with their big games. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.